Mentors. You gotta have mentors. Anything you want to pursue in life, sports, academics, whatever, you have to find people that are higher up the food chain than you. And you have to hang around them. First of all, you have to earn their time.
Yes.
Because people like you and I, we don't like wasting our time, man.
Well, because people just call you up and say, hey, I would like you to mentor me. And you're like,
no, you're a waste of time. You're a total waste of time.
You're like, you mean, can you assist me and help me achieve something that I'm trying to achieve and learn from me while we're doing that? That would be more of a better way to do that. Or you can hang around me and learn, but I don't have I'm not going to call you to tell you to come hang around
because,
me. Yeah.
Because people like us, our free time is very, very limited. And we don't like to waste time and energy.
There's no time to waste.
There's no time to waste. So I found a good landlord mentor. She took me under. I earned her trust, and she helped me walk.
How'd you earn that? How'd you go about that? How did you find her?
I did everything she told me to do. I had a situation once where one of my training partners was getting divorced. And he was renting one of my places. He wanted to bring his dog in. My landlord mentor said, Charles, no pets, you'll be fine. And he was arguing his case, and I went to her to ask her, and I kept trying to argue my case. And she kept telling me, well, why, so finally I could see in her eyes, she was like, okay. She basically said, Charles, you're going to do what you're going to do anyhow. And we changed the subject. We talked about other stuff. We parted ways. And then months go by. I did exactly what she told me to do. I told him he couldn't have his dog in a crate, whatever. And then he vacated. And then I bumped into her later. And we're talking about our usual chit chat. And she goes, oh, by the way, what did you do with your buddy situation with the dog? I looked her in the eye and I said, I did exactly what you told me to do. And she looked, and I saw this little light bulb in the back of her eyes. Yes. Like this door open, like, oh, okay. Now I'm going to show you. Now we're going to get down to the meat. So I think in situations like that, I think I earned her time. Yes. And she basically, and some other people too. And when I work termite and pest control, I have all kinds of clients. Okay. Doctors, lawyers, brain surgeons, and a lot of them they had rentals. Okay. So I picked their brain. It's just little pieces here and there and stuff like that. And I managed all my rentals in Hawaii by myself up until the time I moved. So you started buying the properties. And so what did that process look like? So of course you had the money, so you didn't have to go to the bank to get loans? I always put a minimum of 20% down. Okay. Because you mortgage and insurance and you buy your equity. So you did use lenders? Always. Okay. You didn't, because cash is king. A lot of people, and so I was listening to Ramsey last night. Well, you know how that goes. And it's always like, I've had bankruptcy like 3 times. And because I was over leveraged in real estate. This is Ramsey himself. I know this only because I studied it in bankruptcy law area. But then they're like, pay this off, do cash. And I'm just like, I can see how that could work. But there was some advice that was given last night to this guy who had like all this cash. And I'm like, but cash is king. Like lenders want to know that you can service the debt. And so it's interesting that you went ahead and utilized. I think it's a combination of both. Okay. You come heavy with a big down payment. Okay. Yeah, big down payment makes a difference. Take advantage of the banks. As long as the numbers are there, there's something on, I think it's Instagram, one of those things, where he goes around asking like successful people. And one of the things I notice is that a lot of them say that they wish that when they were younger or they started their careers, they were more aggressive in borrowing money. Leverage, basically. A lot of them were very adverse to debt. And I notice some of them have a common theme, like, man, when I was younger, if I knew what I knew, I would have borrowed more because I would have ended up, So I think we're both right. Cash is king, but good debt is still good debt. Just don't mistake good debt for bad debt. That's where it can get tricky. So to answer your question, I do both.
Okay.
I have bought their properties cash outright if it's worth it. But most of the time, I'll come heavy to the table and then borrow the rest from the bank.
Exactly. So, but that puts you in a big position. And so when you say that, so does credit play a part in that as well? Like how do you feel about the credit scores and things like that?
Credit scores are very important, even for people like me, because it's going to dictate the interest rates that the banks give you. But I think for the average person, credit's very, very important because it affects them in everything. For me, it doesn't affect a lot of things because I don't play with those numbers. I just focus on the bigger numbers up top. But the average person, they're looking at all their numbers. And the credit score is, I think it's important.
So for those of you who may not know, this is Charles Spainhower. He is a real estate investor. And we are talking about his story about he got started from the bottom and raised himself up. Is it safe to say that you're self-made?
All the properties I've ever acquired, including my very first primary, my parents never helped me. They offered to give me some money to buy my first. So I said, Mom, I'm good. I'll figure it out. Self-made. Is anybody really self-made? I mean, the list of people that have influenced me, helped me, held my hand.
Yeah.
My right hand man. I mean, back in Hawaii, what I would never have gotten as far as I did if he wasn't at my side.
Okay, I love that.
So I mean, yeah. I don't know. Self.
A little too much. A little bit too much.
I've never had all my business transactions. I've done myself. I've never had business partners. No silent partner, no wife, no girlfriend. I've basically done it from my checkbook.
Okay, I'm not gonna get on that one with you yet, Charles.
What, the fact that I've never been married?
Yeah, you didn't want your assets to go away.
People like me, it's hard charging, overachieving type A personalities are hard to swallow.
Oh, you made me laugh out loud.
They're hard to swallow.
Oh my gosh, you made me laugh out.
And you know this. And you know this, Alisha. People, hard charging, overachieving, perfectionist type A people. There's a lot of benefits that come with us.
I just lost it over here.
But there's some drawbacks. There's drawbacks to us.
I'm so sorry. I had to laugh at that. So you did tell me. So what about the education? Because I know one thing about being an investor is you have to learn to evaluate those numbers. Did you do that all with mentors, or were there certain classes or things that you took? Although, because you and I both, we had non-traditional education, we did it a different route, right? But even still, we figured it out. So, how do you learn to evaluate a property? And just tell me, can you just share a little bit about what that process is like in case there's any young folks coming behind you?
Let me go back to the beginning.
Okay, love it.
I always tell people, I was very fortunate. My parents taught me to be a seeker of knowledge. I always tell young people that I mentor, we can't change our skin color or how we were raised or our height or shoe size, none of that. But you can decide how much knowledge you have in your head. Nothing stops that.
Amen.
If you want to spend all your time reading books or watching TV, that's up to you. So I learned a long time ago to be a ferocious seeker of knowledge.
Yes.
I will just literally, when I do have free time, I don't spend time entertaining myself. I focus on educating myself.
Me too.
Don't watch sports. Don't play fantasy football. Don't play video games. I barely watch TV. I might watch a movie maybe one every other year. If I'm not working or training or focusing on investing, I'm finding something I can absorb.